right. Thanks again for everyone that's joining us. So we'll get started here right on the dot at 11:30. My name is Jonathan Klippert. I'm a regional sales director here at Winslow Technology Group, and I'm joined by Mike Sheehy, who's a field CTO and enterprise globals at Nutanix. Today, we're going to go over exploring the power of hypervisors in bridging traditional and cloud-native applications. Mike and I are going to go over through a journey with you folks, specifically around Nutanix and how it's going to be a game-changing technology when it comes to hybrid cloud and cloud-native applications. The agenda today, a quick overview. Very excited about it. I'm a big proponent of Nutanix and the technology. Here at Winslow, we've been a longtime partner and a top partner in our region for New England and upstate New York. I'll be giving a quick glance of WTG here shortly. For some of you who know us and some of you who don't, looks like we're joined by some familiar faces as well. So welcome again. I'll pass the virtual mic over to Mike and go over the content, like we said, about what Nutanix is doing to change the game when it comes to AHV and those hybrid cloud environments. If you have any questions, shoot them over in the chat. We'll try to address them in real time. But right now, the best way to do it, just because of the shortness of this webinar, put them in the chat. And at the end, when we have some spare time, we'll go over that in the Q&A session at 11:55. We are here to help that. So like I said, a quick glance at WTG. We're headquartered right here outside of Boston. I'm in our office today in Waltham, Massachusetts. Lovely this time of year. Winslow Technology Group has a local coverage across the Eastern Seaboard, really starting from Maine to the Carolinas. I'm actually living in Maine now, so I can attest to that. As you can see from our office locations, we do have some additional ones in New York City, Charlotte, and Washington, D.C. With our portfolio, we don't sell everything under the sun within the IT stack or world. We carefully vet out our partnerships like Nutanix within the industry to make sure we're addressing the most critical business needs for the ever-changing IT landscape. I'm sure you guys can attest to that. With our solution set, we identify game-changing technologies from the desktop to the data center to the cloud. We do that through our service deliveries with these unique solutions, really giving that white glove treatment from pre-sales to scoping to installation and knowledge transfer. Solution builds like hybrid cloud, on-prem, security, networking, and SaaS-based offerings. The main focus from a Winslow perspective is we want to deliver the best outcomes for each and every one of our customers. Two more slides for you here. So speaking of outcomes, right, we have a vast bench of technical engineers, both on the pre-sales and post-sales side, with deep experience in the industry. We have over hundreds of years of combined technical experience with that bench. Like on staff, we have 4 CSSPs and truly dedicated team of account executives that have a deep passion for technology and, again, a deep passion for those outcomes. If I were to leave you with one thing and one takeaway from today that characterized Winslow Technology Group and Nutanix, that is customer satisfaction. And the outcomes are our measure for success. So when you guys have a great outcome, that's our measuring stick of how good we did for you. Our mission here is truly to take our passion and expertise that we have and focus on those outcomes, delivered to the customers like yourself in the space. And today, one of those is differentiated services paired with our partner like Nutanix. Last slide here before I again pass the virtual mic to Mike. I know that's kind of a fun saying there. If you look at this slide, we did mention security within our portfolio, and it has been a main focus for us as a company and an organization, very similar to like you guys are, I'm sure, going through today. This is a core pillar that we use as our backbone in our offering solutions. Like Nutanix fits within the NIST framework. So this is actually a NIST framework 1.0. Some of you are looking at this. Well, this isn't the 2.0, which just came out recently. So funny enough, this is the 1.0 where we're missing the 6th pillar here, which would be governance for the 2.0. A quick fun fact for you guys today. That being said, the framework is crucial for any and all of our organizations we face as a massive threat in today's cybersecurity landscape. At WTG, we take our approach of game-changing solutions like we talked about and pair it with this national framework to ensure we're addressing the key needs for folks like you, whether it be in the cloud or a hybrid approach, and using our partner like Nutanix to build that out. We do this comprehensive approach and have a complete and comprehensive offering around our managed services to help customers of all shapes and sizes and really to achieve that best-in-class security posture that everyone's aiming for today. We help to try to reduce risk for you with additional aspects of the NIST framework, whether it be 1.0 or 2.0 or wherever you are in your cybersecurity journey. we're really excited about this offering that pairs really, really, really well with our partner, like I said, Nutanix, and you're going to learn more about that here right now. That said, Mike, I'm going to pass the virtual mic over to you, and looking forward to hearing you chat about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, John. Hang on here while I get my screen up here. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, great. John, thank you for inviting me to this, and thank you all for coming. I know you're all busy, and we're at the middle of the week, and of course, you know, taking some time out of your busy week is hard sometimes. So hopefully we'll make this you know, constructive for you, and you learn something about Nutanix today. So again, my name is Mike Sheehy. I'm a field CTO for enterprise and global accounts with Nutanix. I've been in the industry for about 23 years now. I came out of the service in 1997 and joined ACS, Fleet Bank, excuse me, then ACS, and then Xerox as a enterprise architect. And then I decided to move on to partner space, and then I joined Nutanix in 2015. So almost about 9 years at Nutanix. I really focus on, you know, I'm a customer advocate, right? I'm focused on your success. That's my job. My job in the Nutanix is to align with you strategically, and also align our resources to bring to bear to deliver on those outcomes that John was talking about. My passion and focus is really around next-gen applications and AI. So really modern applications, you know, things like Kubernetes, cloud, and of course, Gen AI is becoming, is rearing its head in a very large way. We're seeing that play out. I am a tech geek at heart, but I'm also a motorhead, so it's kind of an odd combination. I love fast cars, but I also love my technology. So, you know, I have a Mustang at home, but I also geek out on, and you can see that in my blog at unknowntech.io. And if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn in this link here. So enough about me, and let's get into Nutanix. So at Nutanix, we always start with our mission, right? Our future vision and our mission, right? So really the whole concept of Nutanix and why it came out was to simplify the infrastructure stack. And, you know, back in 2009, our founders saw what was happening in the data center space, saw that 3-tier was, you know, kind of this, you know, pieces, parts put together solution. And when these folks went into cloud data centers or worked at cloud data centers, they saw the difference of a software-defined scale-out architecture, and they brought that to bear in the enterprise. And that's really how HCI came to be. And now we're really looking at this in a more multi-cloud fashion, right? So it's not just about HCI anymore. HCI is not the end itself, right? It's a means to get to this hybrid multi-cloud vision that we'll talk about here in a little bit, and basically to free customers like yourselves to focus on your business, right, and your outcomes. And the mission really is to delight customers with our platform and our rich data services capability to allow you to run your applications and store your data anywhere. And that's the mission, right? And this year is very exciting because we're actually releasing a lot of innovation. And since I've been here, the innovation train is in full steam ahead. You know, since I've been here, it's never been as innovative as it is now. So let's talk about the why, right? Obviously, the data center has changed, and it's due to you know, these 3 key areas that Gartner talks about, and we're seeing this play out too. So it's not just an analyst firm, you know, guessing, right? They're actually going out and talking to folks, and we're seeing this as well, right? There's application explosion, there's a data explosion, right? And there's a lot of apps and a lot of data being created and consumed on a daily, you know, daily. Customers will have workloads everywhere, all right? And this is a huge problem that's rearing its head as well, because the workloads are at the edge in the data center, in the cloud, or at a colo, right? What we're finding is those workloads are not optimal, right? They're not optimally placed. And so customers are driven more by a destination conversation, right, than an outcome conversation. And it comes down to really what started with the cloud providers saying, bring everything to us. Now, that's played out in some cases, and it's not played out in some cases. So, you know, when I talk to customers, they're in all levels and all stages of this hybrid cloud journey. Some are all in on public cloud, right? Some have done this for a while, and some are pulling back a bit and seeing that it's costly. They're using cloud smartly now because they learned their lessons in the beginning. And some are at the very beginning, right, stages of actually looking at cloud. Maybe they're consuming O365 or some other service within the cloud, and they're now seriously considering it. The rise of Gen AI is massive right now, and it actually is is related to the other two, the explosion of apps and data and the workloads across environments. Gen AI is no different, right? It's really about getting the right data into your models, right, to give you the right outcomes. And that's a huge problem that we're seeing play out at customers as well. Where the data is located, right, how the data is classified, whether it's proprietary information, right, which is important data which you want to feed into your model, or whether it's Sally's pictures of the Christmas party, right, stored on a NAS somewhere, right? Obviously, you don't want to intermingle that data and funnel it into your model, right? Because you're not going to get a good outcome. So it's a garbage in, garbage out problem. So we're really working with a lot of customers that want to make sure that they're secure. So they want to do this on premises. They don't want to do this in the cloud. And we've already seen things play out with well-known companies where they were using public-facing, ChatGPT services and actually feeding proprietary information into that, right? And so that's a problem. And so companies are thinking, okay, my data's on-prem. It makes sense to run this on-prem. So how do I do that? And the skill sets around that have posed a problem as well. So it's not just about location of applications, right? I have disparate locations of edge, data center, cloud, colo, et cetera. But it's also about the technologies and the services that you want to consume and where they're located at. So how we look at this is we look at this from a platform perspective. And I'm sure you've heard other vendors say the word platform, or they talk about their solution as a platform. But what really is a platform? The biggest example, the greatest example of a platform really is the cloud, right? So when you go into the cloud, you have a ready to consume solution, right? And I talk about this in my blog post, and hopefully you guys go and look at this for more in-depth analysis on this. But it's a ready to consume infrastructure where you go in, you build your landing zone, and now you consume a service, okay? And of course, you're paying for that. You're paying a premium for that. That's one challenge we'll talk about later. But also, you're going to have services remain on-prem, right? Whether it's for app and data locality, whether it's for governance reasons, whether you're at the edge, you need to provide a service or application to your customer at the edge. Those things still exist. And as a matter of fact, a lot of it has to do with the legacy baggage that everybody has. And I don't want to talk about it negatively, but that's really what it is. When you start looking at legacy applications, they don't necessarily translate well from a cost model, performance model, availability model into public cloud. And so we see a lot of those legacy applications remain on-prem. Secondly, there's also this drive of application rationalization and modernization. So pretty much anybody that's doing, I wouldn't say anybody, but most people that are doing a public cloud or have a public cloud initiative, they are looking at their application stacks more in depth, meaning, do I need to go through the 6 R's, which is, refactor, retain, re-architect, et cetera, right? They go through this process to determine, am I going to move this application set, or can it be moved to a more modern approach, a more cloud native approach? And when I say cloud native around that, I don't mean using native cloud services. I mean things like Kubernetes, serverless, containerization, et cetera. Okay, so we have that, but we're also seeing that play out on-prem too, right? Again, we're seeing Gen AI as a driver of that, right? Where the cloud native solution is the foundation of inferencing models, right? And then also at the edge, right? We're seeing applications being delivered through name brands, companies like IBM, et cetera, delivered through their Kubernetes stack, which used to be considered COT solutions, right? Now these solutions are transitioning into more of a modern deployment. Instead of virtual machines, they're now being deployed on OpenShift as an example. So how do I get my hands and my arms wrapped around all of it? And that's fundamentally a problem. And it's really operating a single platform, right? Giving you this foundation to give you this consistent experience where you can move business and apps and data based on your requirements. And instead of, managing, okay, data centers, clouds, edge individually as pieces, parts, different skill sets, different organizations, different silos, right? You're managing those as a more unified model. And I don't want to say as one, right? You're still going to need cloud experts, right, to build the landing zones, et cetera. But your investment, right, of skills into further services in the cloud, you don't really have to take that investment on if you layer on a foundation that lays on top of any substrate, right? We talk about tools like Terraform, Ansible, Pulumi. These tools layer above all substrates. You're able to deliver and automate on any substrate. It's the same idea with Nutanix, right? Nutanix layers on any substrate, any cloud, colo, any hardware solution, hypervisor, et cetera, right? So the idea of this is to have this single unified platform. We're based on, we have solution principles, right? And everything we do is based on these solution principles. It obviously includes world-class support because things go wrong, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything's perfect. If any infrastructure or cloud provider or hybrid solution software company provider tells you that, they're not telling you, they're not being forthcoming, right? The reality is when things go wrong, the call you're going to make, is it going to resolve my problem? Is it going to exceed or meet my SLA, right? And is it going to get me back in business? That's what world-class support's about, and we own that. And that's why we have a 90+% NPS score and a 90+% customer sat score. Our solution is self-contained by design. So what does that mean? It means that it's a combination of tightly coupled and semi-coupled solutions that work in concert to deliver a full platform. And we'll talk more about what that looks like here in a few minutes. Simplicity and automation are key in everything that we do, from one-click upgrades, from deployment or consumption of the service, to day-to-day operations, right? It has to be simple. We don't want you guys spending time managing infrastructure. We want you consuming and building, moving from operators to builders, right? That's what provides value to the business. And of course, it has to be durable and it has to be self-healing against failures. And this is, there's some differentiation there. I won't get into real detail here. It's a very high-level conversation, but we do have a self-healing distributed architecture that is durable, that senses pending failure and responds and reacts to that, right? Freedom of choice is paramount. We're hearing this more and more. Customers are tired of being locked in to specific vendors, right? Or vendor solutions or license model, right? They want the ability to adjust. If a software company like us provides you software licenses, those software licenses should be able to run on any platform, anywhere. And that's what we provide with our portable licensing model. Of course, it has to be high performing. I'm not going to sit here and get into detail about that. That's a given, right? Any enterprise or any customer requires that high performance and availability. But also, customers are coming to us and asking for this unified way of doing things. Meaning, I hear customers all the time, Mike, I have 5 different storage devices doing 5 different serving 5 different storage needs, and they could be the same vendor or they could be multi-vendor. That's 5, possibly 5 different vendors, 5 different life cycles, 5 different, vendor relationships, cost models, etc. Right? How do I collapse that into a single unified stack? And that's where Nutanix in phase 2 has gone. Right? We have basically started with HCI. Phase 2 is to deliver data services on top of HCI for files, objects, databases as a service on the platform. And then phase 3 is this hybrid multi-cloud focus, which we're in the middle of now. And what that means is, how do I get all this goodness everywhere I put my application? How do I have a flexible foundation that's portable, delivers enterprise-grade capabilities that we talked about here, and all the data services I need wherever the applications sit? And that's really the hybrid multi-cloud focus. This is really an eye chart, so I'm not going to get into this so much, but understand that what we are looking at here is basically the foundational HCI solution that can run anywhere on any cloud, MSP, colo, edge, okay, that provides you all of that enterprise capability that you expect, and even advanced services like microsegmentation, right? Advanced DR and recovery, advanced security features, et cetera. But also on top of that, a global centralized management where you can get this global view of what's happening in your estate. And in the middle, layering on top of the core infrastructure, right, is these data services I'm talking about. Some of these data services are still being worked on, right? I will say files objects is our second fastest growing solution within Nutanix. Database as a service is another fast growing solution. The things that you see outlined in dashes are more future. We're working on those now. Cloud native services or cloud native data services, or what we call container native data services. Customers are requiring that. And then I'll just give you a glimpse into the future a bit around Project Beacon. Project Beacon is about decoupling our services from the core HCI solution. So what does that mean? That means that you could run our services on native cloud services, right? So for example, instead of leveraging our infrastructure in AWS to run files or objects, we're going to be able to run files and objects natively within the cloud on top of EC2, EBS, et cetera. Now, why do we do that? Well, the reality is we don't want to lock you into the infrastructure side of it, but what we do want to give you is this availability of service capability anywhere. So imagine that you have files services that are running in Azure, AWS, on-prem, edge, colo, et cetera, and you're getting the same management, the same feature capability. You're able to move data between those substrates with ease, right? That's what people are asking for. On top of that, the same thing happens with database as a service. Being able to layer that database as a service without requiring Nutanix infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, but layering it on top of native AWS as an example, or Azure, and being able to actually migrate data around between clouds, right? From a database perspective. So I would say we're in the middle of this hybrid cloud movement, and the customers I talk to, right, they can't get to cloud fast enough. Part of it has to do with I have cloud commitments and I did an application rationalization, and we need to do this application re-architecture, but it's taking a lot of time. So what's happening? A lot of customers I'm seeing, the cloud commits are sitting there. They're not able to consume the commitment, right? And we understand why the cloud commit's there. It's there for you guys to get the best deal, right? To get the best value. The problem is if you can't move quickly enough into the cloud, right? What happens is it's waste. It's wasted resources, right? You basically paid for no value, no advantage. And so what we're working with customers today is, how do I get into cloud faster? And even Microsoft Azure themselves will tell you, and we can show you that they say that Nutanix is the fastest way to get you to cloud, especially if you're on Nutanix today. But even if you're not on Nutanix today, we have tools and solutions that make it very, very simple to go from a 3-tier solution on-prem into a Nutanix solution running in Azure as an example. Why do we do this? It's around ease of use, consistent operations, right? No compromise on SLA because you're getting the same SLA. Of course, you're still tied in the cloud, right, to the cloud SLA. Obviously, there's a shared responsibility model. The cloud has its own SLAs, which I find funny because a lot of times I work with customers who have a greater than 5 nines SLA on-prem, but then they say they want to go to cloud, and the cloud SLA is 3 nines. So to me, something's not jiving there, right? So how do we build solutions that can provide additional SLA capability within the cloud, right? Well, part of that is not locking yourself in, meaning you can go to a true multi-cloud. And I'm not saying, you know, I have services running in Azure and I have services running in AWS, and I manage them individually and separately. What I'm talking about, again, is layering this solution over top of all of these substrates and giving this unified approach. AHV is part of this, right? We had to build AHV because we had to basically give you the foundational layer, right, to be able to give you this portability I'm talking about. Now, what is AHV? AHV at its heart is a fork of KVM that we've modernized and simplified and integrated into our platform, okay? We took the best things about VMware. We looked at, obviously, in other solutions from a hypervisor perspective, and then we looked at the best things about Cloud Hypervisor, And it's funny, a lot of customers I talk to about cloud, they don't talk about hypervisors, and neither do the cloud, right? They talk about you can run your workload here, right? And this is the SLA, and that's what customers are more concerned with versus what hypervisor do you run in cloud. And that's the direction we took with AHV. We've integrated it into the stack. It completely understands the storage stack, right? It has all the enterprise features that you come to love with VMware: distributed switch, integrated performance optimization, right, with HCI, HA, a DRS, we call it ADS, cross-cluster live migration. All the things that foundationally you love with VMware are part of AHV naturally, right? We had to at least meet the minimum, right, around that. And what we didn't do, though, is we didn't take every feature of VMware or Hyper-V or whatever and say we need to just mirror that, because a lot of what VMware offers is shelfware, right? It's put on the shelf. You buy Enterprise Plus licenses or Enterprise licenses because you need a distributed switch, right? Or you need host profiles. And then 50 other features in that license, right, are sitting on a shelf. And that's what we didn't do. We made sure that you had all the necessary solution, capabilities from an enterprise grade AHV hypervisor, right? And then from a cloud perspective, you don't manage the hypervisor in the cloud, right? You don't have to worry about, DRS or those types of things, or fine tuning high availability or any of those things. Okay, what you have to worry about in the cloud is, okay, the hypervisor's there, it's a means to an end. It's a means for me to run my application and get my SLA. And then the cloud providers tell you, build your high availability, et cetera, into the application tier, right? Versus relying on us. Now, we're not quite there yet, right? From a hypervisor perspective for on-prem, right? Most customers rely on the virtual stack. So we do have HA built in, right? At the same time, we've integrated AHV into the stack and made it dead simple, meaning you don't have to worry about fine-tuning HA, DRS, et cetera. It's just on. It just works. You don't have to worry about distributed switch because it's native to AHV. So it's not checking a box and saying, I need distributed switch and I need to stand up distributed switches and DVS and port groups, et cetera. You don't have to worry about that. It's just there and it works. And by the way, part of that Open vSwitch platform that's integrated with AHV, right, is the reason why we're able to implement microsegmentation, VXLAN, et cetera, VPC, networking, et cetera, into the stack. Quickly, 11:58, I know time was flying this fast. Quickly, this is the platform, right? It's distributed scale-out architecture. And we run on any solution, right? Cisco, HPE, Dell, Lenovo, and we also have our own solution called NX, which is based on the Supermicro platform. Simplified operations in LCM is huge for us. Every piece of software, including hardware, firmware, et cetera, can be upgraded through a one-click process through LCM on all of these platforms below, but also all the software. So if you decide to use NDB, which are database as a service, or file services, is also upgraded through the one-click process. So to wrap up, what are we really doing here? We're building the bridge between operators, right, application folks, and internal folks, right? We're breaking down silos and providing this great foundation that gives you all this capability, including cloud native technologies. And we're starting to see this use case grow more and more and more. And we are very open, again, providing you flexibility and choice around what cloud native technology you want to use. The journey to get to Nutanix and beyond is, you can start with VMware on Nutanix. You can use our HCI solution. We have customers that do that, and you can grow into it. Maybe you don't use SRM, you use our integrated DR. Maybe you don't use automation, we use our integrated self-service we call COM. You transition away from NSX or vSphere into HV, and you use our flow networking capability. And finally, you can layer in all these data services no matter what hypervisor you use. So if you decide to stay with VMware, you still can leverage all of the goodness of automation, DR, our data services, right? All of that works. And why customers win with Nutanix? It's freedom of choice, one unified platform, power, simplicity, and we are dedicated to your success. If you want to test out Nutanix, you can click on test drive here. It'll take you to the link. And I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. And hopefully everyone can see my screen here. Just to wrap up, and again, we're right at the time at 12 o'clock, so thank you, everybody. Really love the messaging and what Nutanix is doing within the industry, which is why we chose them as a partner within the HCI market with the hybrid cloud assessment tier. So what we'd like to talk to you guys about, just 2 takeaways for everyone. We offer a complimentary hybrid cloud assessment for everyone who's joined today. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes. And basically what we're doing is taking your applications, cloud native or SaaS offerings, and looking at your existing on-prem infrastructure to see whether you can use the game-changing technology that is Nutanix for the hybrid cloud approach, or maybe you're all in the cloud and you want to bring things back on-prem from a scale perspective. That's really what we're trying to do here, and it's completely complementary and non-intrusive to your environment, whether it be in the cloud or on-prem today. And we're able to give you a cost analysis. And on the example on the right there is actually a use case that we use for our customers that are in an EC2 instance as well as EBS. And then their on-prem solution. So we're able to build that out as an ROI TCO for you folks like yourself. Last but not least, if you're interested in learning more, we're able to schedule a meeting with us to talk further. The first 15 people to schedule the meeting with us will receive a $200 gift card from Nike to create your own custom shoes. If you like Nutanix, you can create them custom with Nutanix colors or Winslow colors, or maybe your institution's colors, whatever you see fit. But that really is the takeaway. And unfortunately, we had a large crowd today. We're right at time, so we're not going to be able to answer any questions today, but all the ones in the chat we'll take, and we'll also move that in to you guys after the call. But looking forward to having some follow-up meetings with you all, and really appreciate the time from myself at Winslow Technology Group. Hope you guys have a wonderful day and the rest of the week. And for those in New England, stay warm. Thank you, everybody.